All right, we're live, Gaza. Welcome to episode 36 of the Weiqi Podcast. I'm Xiao Dai, and I have already announced your name.
Yep, it's Gaza.
Gaza, yeah. We're very excited, Gaza. Now, Gaza, we do have to address something right away, which was what you see on the screen right here. It's a post by Daniela Trinks. I do believe she's a assistant professor at the Myongji University, which we have mentioned in our podcast that it contained a Baduk Studies department, and that unfortunately that department is being closed down.
Yes. So, yes, as you said, in last week's podcast, we did briefly mention about the Baduk Studies Department at the Myongji University, and I made the sort of offhand remark that it seems like it was being closed down due to a lack of success.
Yes.
And it turned out that I was wrong
Right.
about that in many different ways. Not only is that not the reason it's being closed down, but it wasn't actually suffering from a lack of success
Right.
in the first place. And yes, it's regrettable that I said that because I didn't actually do much research before last week's podcast on it. I just basically referenced, relayed a comment that a colleague of mine made.
Right.
But fortunately, yes, you were able to get in contact with Professor Trinks,
Yep.
um, and she was able to give us a lot more information. But in any case, there have been many posts on Korean websites, especially the KBA website and Chinese websites about this development. And it turns out that this is quite a significant event or significant sort of thing that's happening because this is the only Baduk department, university Baduk department in the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And thanks to the comments from Professor Trinks, we can see just how much it's contributed to Baduk. She mentioned several current and former professional players that were students
Right.
at this university in this Baduk department, including Yun Sung, who I think you could consider her to be the first, really strong women's Baduk player.
Yep.
She was like the best women's player in Korea in the early and mid '90s.
Right.
You also have Kim Young,
Yep.
who is still going strong now. Like she made the final of the Haohong
Yep.
Cup, which we talked about in last week's podcast. So
Yep.
obviously, she's a top 10 women's player for years. Kim Hyo-min and Lee Min-jin both went to this university, and if you recall, they were the two finalists in this year's Daeju Cup.
Yep.
And Kim Hyo-min has also won a few women's tournaments, including the women's Kuksu.
Yep.
And another thing worth noting is that a few of these players that we've already mentioned, Yun Sung and Kim Young,
Yep.
they've actually, like, not only are they champions in the pro scene, but they've actually become ambassadors for the
Yeah.
KBA overseas.
Yeah.
Yun Sung represents the KBA in Europe, I think specifically Germany, but
Yeah.
in general in Europe.
Yep.
And Kim Young has represented the KBA in Canada.
Yep.
And she still to this day, I believe, runs a Twitch channel.
Right. Yep.
Which sometimes comments on live games and things like that.
Yep.
Both of them also speak English, and
Yep.
that's really helped to spread, go worldwide, especially to the Western world.
Yep.
someone else that deserves a lot of mention, who is a former student in this Baduk department, is An Gil.
Yep, our very own young girl.
Yes, very own, and we say our very own because he's the national coach for Australia.
Yeah.
And this is probably my biggest regret, not knowing that An Gil was a student at this university.
Right.
Because I would honestly say that if it wasn't for An Gil, there's a good chance that this podcast wouldn't exist.
Right. 100%. Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah. I mean, I met Young Gil long time ago. I had dinner with him, and it's one of the
he's really sort of been a huge influence for spreading Go Baduk in Australia. It's not really an underground thing anymore in Australia. It's not just something that you find out through an email list anymore. It's become quite popular, and Young Gil's a big reason for that.
Yeah.
Other people like Hong Ming Pyo, he's a bit of a veteran.
Yep.
But he also went there. I think Han Jong-jin, who I believe is the current president of the KBA.
Right.
He went to the university. There's been so many people.
Yeah.
Baduk TV. You know how they have casters.
Yeah.
Women's casters. Sometimes they're pros, sometimes they're not.
Yeah.
Well, some of the more popular ones are actually former students.
Right.
Like Choi Eugene. There's
a lot. Now
it's quite impressive, and even like some of the strongest amateur players like Hwang In-seong, also there, and also not just that. There's a lot of it's very popular for international students as well. There have been a few students outside Korea that have attended the university because, as we said, it's the only one in the world, the only Baduk department in the world.
Yeah. Now, I do want to tell a little bit of story about my first contact with someone who's attended this department and the university. So, at some point in my career, I was working in Singapore, and of course, there's a Singapore Weiqi Association is actually quite, or to my mind anyway, quite a big organization. There's like literally hundreds of kids attending competitions sometimes. So I used to attend their lessons, and there I met a lady who's I believe she's like she holds some kind of full-time position at the Weiqi Association. So I think in Singapore they do have funds to hire people full-time. So I do believe she works there full-time as and she was a great Baduk enthusiast. In fact, she actually attended this department. So and then when she's gone back to Singapore, she's working for the Weiqi Association there. So the influence of this department has gone quite far in terms of where it reaches. So I wouldn't be surprised that some of the students have gone back to their home countries in Europe and America and so on. In fact, when it says the number of foreign students, it says 85 from 25 countries. Yeah, so definitely the influence of this department has reached a lot of corners of the world. So
yeah. And another really big name that I didn't mention.
right.
An Kuk-hyun.
Yep.
If you recall, we've never mentioned this podcast, but we may have actually done it. But he was runner-up once in the Samsung Cup.
Right.
So,
Yep.
The runner-up of a world major.
Yeah.
He's a former student there.
Yep.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And yes, it's there have now been more articles and videos posted about what has happened, and what has happened was a decision. Apparently, Myongji University has merged with Myongji College.
Right, in Seoul, I believe, yeah.
Yes. And as a result of this merging, they're doing a bit of a restructuring, I suppose.
Yep.
And they made decisions on, I guess, each department, and they decided to close the departments of Baduk
Yep.
and philosophy.
Right. Did they also not mention closing the math and physics department? Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. So okay, Gaza, I'm looking at the Korea Times report about this the closure, and it also mentions here the list also includes a math, physics, chemistry, and philosophy departments. So I'll post a link of this to the YouTube so that people can look at this article if they wish. Yeah, and this article they have also interviewed, I believe, Professor Trinks here, and yeah.
Yes, right. There are so many articles. Most of them are not
Yeah.
in English. So if there are any English articles, maybe we'll post the English articles because then
Yeah.
they don't need translation. So
Yeah.
there can't be any sort of any phrases lost in translation there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So that's
yeah, what has also happened is obviously because there's so many former students in the professional scene that they've made a petition.
Yep. I
Um,
got the petitions.
well, I'm talking about there's a petition. There was a petition circulated in just among the professionals,
Right.
and like virtually, like 82% of them signed it within like 1 week. I'm which is that's or maybe within a few days or something. I think yes.
Yep.
And there have been like there have been a lot of professionals that have made comments expressing their disappointment at the decision,
Yep.
and including the current and former legends. So Cho Hun Hyun,
Yep.
like the eternal emperor of Baduk.
Yeah.
He's won more games and more titles than anyone else. His student and the international legend Lee Chang-ho,
Yep.
the current champions Shin Jin-so and Park Chun-hwan, as well as Choi Jong, and even in China, Ko Jae has expressed his disappointment
Yeah.
and his hope that this decision to close the department is reversed.
Yep.
Byun Sang-yeol he's also expressed his opposition. Just about everyone in the professional scene has made comments, hoping that this does not actually go through. There was a petition outside the university building where the officials or the executives were going to make the decision
Yep.
on whether or not to close the department, and it turned out that they apparently those officials ended up changing the location in secret.
Right.
And they found out where the new location was going to be, and they turned up there, and apparently police were called and some people got injured and things like that.
Yeah.
Quite an emotional thing, and you can understand why, because not only is Korea obviously quite proud of their
Achievements in Baduk.
not just their achievements, but their representation of Baduk.
Yeah.
Yeah, just yeah, and not only that, but it's a university. These are people's jobs,
Yeah.
right? If they close the department, these people won't have a job. Um, and that's obviously disappointing, and it can be quite anxiety inducing as well.
100%.
But yes, but I mean, in Korea has a right to be proud. Back 34 years ago, they had one representative in the In Cup,
Yeah.
Cho Hun-hyun,
Yeah.
and he went on to beat everyone and win the In Cup.
Yeah.
And since that, and even before that, Cho Namchul,
Yeah.
when did he
He came
like
back to Korea.
yeah
Maybe
in
after
like
post-war.
1945 he came back to Korea and basically established the professional scene.
Yeah.
And this department was opened in 1997, so it's been around for 25 years.
Yeah.
And yeah, it really doesn't seem right to close the only Baduk department in the world.
Yeah.
And apparently you have on the screen there the video from Cho Yong-woo.
Yeah.
It's not in English, but it does have English subtitles.
I'm not sure.
It does because I've watched it.
Okay. Yeah.
And she does say that apparently they listed 2 reasons for the closure, and one of them was apparently the Baduk is not as popular in Korea. Apparently, the popularity has gone down from 26%
to 23%.
23%.
Yeah.
In my opinion, that's not only negligible, but 23% is still very popular.
Yeah.
I don't see that as a valid reason. And their second reason was apparently a lot of entrants were coming from the Baduk High School.
Yeah.
There's a Baduk High School, and that I think the Baduk High School started after 1997, so after the university department was created.
Right.
But since the Baduk High School started, the percentage of students from Baduk High School getting in was quite high.
Yeah.
And so they were claiming that it didn't seem to be very representative of
I guess a wider
a wider sort of it wasn't a wide representation of people.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what to say about that. I mean, she like Cho Yong-woo gives her arguments against that as well.
Yeah.
I think those are pretty weak reasons to close a department.
Yeah.
And it seems like a lot of other people are as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, I also obviously am fully opposed to the department closing, and I hope that they do end up not going through with it.
Yeah. Yeah. So because I think we put a lot of more facts and also taken on a lot of the views of and we've kind of relayed out the views of other pros, and so it's hopefully this is a more informative and more well-rounded report on this subject.
We have posted and we have posted more. We have put more. You have posted more things on the subreddit,
right?
And we encourage people to read those things and also to do your own research on this. This is obviously a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what the next steps are. I'm not sure if there's anything that can be done, but there have been some petitions that are available.
Yeah.
One of them is in the description of Cho Yong-woo's video.
Yeah.
and there's another one on the KBA website.
Right.
And what we'll do is in this video's description, we'll post both of those, the links to both of those petitions.
Yep.
If you're interested in signing them.
Yep.
And yeah, hopefully it does make a difference.
Yep.
And this story has a good ending.
Yeah. So let's see what will happen. So thanks Gaza for correcting one of our previous statements, and then yeah. So if you're interested, I do believe Daniela Professor Trink's Facebook page. She that's where she posted the information. It might be viewable just to the public. So yeah, do check that out. And there's the Korea Times article, and yeah, a bunch of other reporting on the proweiqi subreddit. So and of course, as mentioned, we'll post the links to the petitions. Okay, so Gaza, I think that's just a wrap for the Myongji University Baduk Department closure saga. So Gaza, shall we move on to some Baduk? And Gaza, there's a big one in Japan this week.
Yes.
Which is the 48th Tengen, and it's basically finished. Yeah.
Well, we did report. I think we reported last week that yes, we did report last week there was a chance that Game 5 wouldn't be played because Ida Atsushi had COVID.
Yeah.
That turned out to not
be the case, I guess.
Well, it turned out to that it wasn't that bad. So they did play Game 5. And that was played yesterday as of this recording.
Yep.
And what was so Game 5 was the final game. It is a best of 5.
Yep.
It was 2 games apiece between Ida Atsushi and Seki Kotaro.
Yep.
So whoever won this would be the Tengen.
Yep.
And so and what was the result?
Well, it was a very dramatic finish because Ida Atsushi was leading partway through the game, but Seki Kotaro managed to chip away his advantage and ended up winning by the slimmest possible margin of half a point. So that means Seki holds on to his Tengen title, and that's also what that also means is that because he's held on to this minor title twice now, that he's actually been promoted to 9 dan. So Seki Kotaro is now 9 dan.
That is a big deal.
A big deal, I guess.
So, do we have are we looking at the? Are we going to go through the Kifu of this game?
Yes. I think we should quickly look at the Kifu because it is actually very interesting. Now, before we look at the Kifu, you may notice that there's something odd about this picture. Okay. If you haven't noticed it, take a good look and then let me know what you think about this picture when we open up the Kifu. So we got Seki Kotaro Tengen Game 5. Oops. No, I have to load it up. Yeah. So maybe take a look at this picture and see if you can spot what's odd about this. Gaza, any thoughts on that? No.
I didn't notice anything out of the ordinary.
Nothing out of the ordinary. What about I guess we will have to review after looking at the Kifu. So in this game, Seki Kotaro, because in the 5th game they have to go Nigiri again. So Seki managed to get black, and disappointingly, he didn't go for the Tengen opening.
Considering the person that played at Tengen every time it's happened, has lost.
Yeah.
Might be a wise strategy.
Yeah. So, but it is a very interesting nevertheless because you see why. So Seki Kotaro have gone for the 3-3 right away, and let's just see what happens. They started, and then Ida Atsushi says, "Do you dare to play the Mii's Flying Dagger?" And to which Seki replied, "Yeah, of course." So they played out this really, I guess this is a post AI well, not post AI, but this Joseki was kind of invented in the AI era. So this is a very, very complicated Joseki. There's so many branches here, but in here now Black play the. I'm not sure if this is a canonical branch or if it's due to new research, but I think when I looked at the Kifu, it kind of says that this move is lost some points in the but whatever it is, I think maybe it should have cut, but I don't know, maybe it's just a new research. One of our viewers, Eugene, he says that he's very familiar with this Joseki, so maybe he can tell us more, but it's just so complicated. I have no idea what's going on. But anyway, so white also plays solidly and just connected. But this Joseki is so bloody complicated. You see how almost quarter of the board is gone, but that's not the end of it. They keep fighting. So this, they haven't taken any of the other corners yet, and they're still fighting. It's not until here that the fighting kind of stopped. Okay, fix the shape. Why fix the shape? Jumps out. So I think this should kill white, because otherwise no point making this move. But yeah, as you can see, black is not totally alive yet. So, but I think this does kill white. But it's just so complicated. They just keep fighting, and you know what? There's still one corner that hasn't been taken yet, and I think that corner will not be taken until move 121, which we haven't even seen yet, and that's just how much fighting there is. Just nuts, complete nuts. Okay, so now they finally decided to take the corner. Now, guys, I do believe there was a post on proweiqi that kind of recounts which is when was the latest move in which the last corner was taken, right? There was something like that, and I think this would be ranking quite up there. Not sure if it's going to be top 10, but yeah, it's quite amazing what's happened here.
Yeah, this is not something that you usually see.
Yeah. And of course, when you look at the position now, of course, you notice that this black group is white only need to spend one more move to kill this off. Neither side of the black in the corner is fully alive. I think it's just a capturing race. In a capturing race, they will win against this white group. That's all. Yeah. So it's for me, it's very hard to assess who's better in here, but they kind of keep fighting. I don't remember there's anything that's too remarkable about this game, except that I think Seki just kept on fighting, and once he lived with this group in here, I think he's ahead, but it's hard to tell unless you count really accurately. But anyway, the margin was very close. It could have gone either way, and just Seki got a better off Ida Atsushi. I think it did look like that at some point, because Ida Atsushi was having the lead, and he kind of just choked, according to the commentary that I've seen. But I haven't done any detailed analysis to kind of analyze exactly where he had choked. But so congrats to Seki for winning this title, and Ida Atsushi was unsuccessful in trying to obtain his second ever title, because of course he was a Judan winner before.
His second ever major title.
Yes. So yep. That's it, Gaza.
Well, that also means that Seki Kotaro is now the youngest 9-dan currently in Japan. He's only 21.
Yeah.
So for Japanese, that's quite young to turn 9-dan.
Yeah. Now,
I really do hope that he makes a major league.
Wow, he hasn't, but yeah.
Because yes, he hasn't yet made a major league. In fact, I'm not even sure. Well, I'm not even sure if he made the Kisei C League this year. Did he?
Does he
have to re-qualify?
Now, Gaza, you mentioned that he's only 21 and he's already 9 dan, which is quite young for Japanese pros. Now, someone's did a research on all the pros born after the year 1990 and all the 9 dans that are there. There's actually not that many. So that's, I believe, only 6 of them. And so these are their names in Chinese writing. Now, they are Murakawa Daisuke. So he made 9 dan by winning 2 of the minor titles. So the minor
Yes.
titles are Oza, Tengen, Judan, and Gosei. Okay, so you win one. I
Yes.
think you go with that.
Daisuke is a Kansai
Kiin.
Kiin player.
Yeah, that's right.
We might hear a little bit more about him
A bit
later
later.
in this podcast. Hint,
Yeah.
hint.
Hint, hint.
But he won the Urza,
Yeah.
and he also won the Judan. I think he
Oh,
won the Urza in 2014, and he may have won the Judan in 2019.
right. Something like that.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, okay. Now, and then of course we have Shibano Toramaru. He made 9 dan after winning the Meijin in
Yes,
2019.
he won the Meijin, yes.
Now Ichiriki Ryo also made 9 dan, but he made it not by the Kisei, but because before that he's already won 2 of the minor titles, a minor of the major, 4 minors, and of course Xu Chaiyuan also made 9 dan the same way, winning 2 of the minor titles. And then
Yes, he won.
I think
He won. Well, when he won the Judan last year, that
yeah,
was his ticket to 9 dan.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then you got Ida Atsushi. He made 9 dan, I believe, by having 200 wins. And that was achieved
At 8 dan.
at 8 dan. Yep. Yeah.
So he
200
got
wins.
to 8 dan. He sort of fast tracked his way to 8 dan by winning the Judan many years ago. And then once he got to 8 dan, he just needed to win. I think it was 200 games.
Right. Yep. 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 So that's how Ida Atsushi. Unfortunately, Ida Atsushi couldn't win a title before he achieved this target, but still an achievement. And then you have last but hopefully not least, Seki Kotaro. He made 9 dan by, of course, as mentioned, defending his Tengen title. So that's 6. Those are 6 players. They have made 9 dan.
Born after 1990.
Yes. So not that many. And now the other interesting thing, which was researched by this person online, was that now the last person to have to make 9 dan by defending his title was my favorite player, Conor Rin, in 2006. So yeah,
Oh yeah, and that was by defending the Tengen. Is that right?
Tengen. That's right, the Tengen. So yeah,
So
and
the Tengen is the title you want to. The Tengen is the title that people defend to become 9 dan.
yes, yeah. Well, that's what it sounds like. And by favorite, I mean not my favorite. All right. Okay. Okay. So that's what that's a little bit interesting tidbit. Now it's finally to review the mystery, Gaza. What's so interesting about this picture? You notice that they're actually sitting on chairs, mate.
Oh,
What a,
chairs.
yeah, what an innovation.
Well, sometimes they do sit on chairs.
Yes, yes,
I've seen in the Judan they sit on chairs in
right.
hotels.
Yes, but it's not as common as just sitting on the floor for Japanese players.
No, they do like sitting on the floor.
Yep. So yeah,
Yes.
so that was one thing that was pointed out to me, and yeah, so that's your Tengen covered. So congrats to Seki Kotaro again. Now, Gaza, after covering the Tengen, we may very soon see Japanese players in action, but not before. We have not before China determines the winner of the Ahan Tongshan Cup, which in Japanese I believe would be called something like Kiriyama
Agon Kiriyama
Agon
Cup.
Kiriyama Cup. Yeah. So yeah, and the winner of the Chinese version of this competition will play the winner of the Japanese version. So,
Which is
which is
Hirata Tomoya.
Hirata Tomoya, which is this person here. Yeah. So, but today let's quickly go through the fact that uh, basically it's this competition is arranged such that the Chinese final was played today, and tomorrow is when they have the Japan China challenge. And basically in the China final today, it was between Li Qingcheng and Xie Hao, two very strong. I believe they might be both. Oh, I think Xie Hao might be just outside the top 10. Actually, I can't remember. But they're like definitely top 20 players in China. I do believe Li Qingcheng is still in the top 10 in China. So they face off today.
It's I hope there are pictures because I've pointed this out before, but they look remarkably similar.
These two players.
Yes.
Let's see. But in this game, it looks like it was a huge reversal. I haven't looked at the Kifu yet. Yeah.
Was it a huge reversal?
Let me see.
I'm quickly having a look at the Kifu. There was a reversal.
Yeah, there
Yes.
was a okay. So this is the graph. So I think at some point, Li Qingcheng was down here. So let's see what's happened. So Li Qingcheng is black in this game, and black's got two corners. White's got two corners. So black here might be in trouble here, because this black group is not necessarily in trouble, but it looks complicated. Oh, this black group is definitely in trouble. This black group.
It's in a it does have some problems.
A little bit of problems. I'm not 100% sure why it's alive, but somehow he managed to reverse this game. So now one thing I do kind of hate about these things is that they always show you what the move is, and then just kind of according to AI. Okay, yeah. So if black connects here, then white can connect. Black has to live. No, white cannot connect. Black connect, white has to connect here probably. Okay, but yeah, it's a big reversal. Looks like. Yeah, but let's look at the end state of the game. So the end state, black managed to.
Black got a huge profit. Like
Yeah.
Black managed to get some big territory in the center.
Yeah, managed to save this group completely. That's crazy. And captured all these white stones. Yeah, so it's not a good day for white, I guess. From black looking pretty precarious to black capturing, managed to make it home and capturing some stones in the middle. So
Those very interesting how he turned white surrounding stones into weak stones.
Yeah, crazy.
I think I think I'm guessing black. If you go back, to where white was in danger, it looks like, so even back further than that, I'm guessing that white wasn't able. So there's that stick of 4 in the top left, and I'm guessing white just wasn't able to capture that while also keeping all of its stones in the center.
Right.
White basically had to make a choice.
Okay, white played it really safe by taking this one stone. And
well, I mean that makes sure that those other 2 stones live.
Yeah. So the fight back for black kind of roughly started here.
I guess that move was a little bit slow though. So.
Yeah, another possibly. Oh yeah, I guess this white group technically isn't alive also. So Li Qingcheng's played pretty well by scaring white into making some moves here.
Yeah, it seems like quite a complicated game, and this game happened
just earlier.
It happened today. Like it finished today. What 4 or 5 hours ago, maybe.
Yeah. So that's the that's the game. I guess the Kifu is available for anyone to look at. It does look like it's decent reversal. So let's look at Li Qingcheng. Who he's beat? He's beaten, of course, Erhao. He's beaten Huang Yunsong, and he's beaten Xu Yue, and he's beaten Yang Dingxin. So quite a run for
Huan Yuntong is a former Ahan Tongshan Cup
yeah.
champion, right?
I believe he might be his only domestic title that he's ever won.
And I believe he famously is one of the few Chinese players to have lost
in
the
China-Japan
Agon Cup.
Yes, I think he lost to Yuta.
He lost to Iyama Yuta, yes.
And then the next loss was Fanting Yu losing to Chou Yu. But really, let's see if we can find the pictures of the two, and you can tell us if they look similar. So this is Li Qingcheng. This is Xie Hao. I guess you can't really tell from these pictures, but these are these two. In terms of physique, Li Qingcheng is definitely a bit bigger. Does it look like? Yeah.
And Li Qingcheng was pretty pleased with his performance.
Yeah, I think
90 out of 100. That's a high number.
That's pretty high. That's pretty high. That's what he rated himself. Mind you, I haven't read the full interview yet. That's just the headline. He just rates himself 90 out of 100 for his performance here. I can't blame him. He's won another title, so and he's known as a fast player. So even in like 2 hour, 3 hour games, he plays like as if it's like a fast game. So he like spends an hour, 30 minutes. Crazy. So looking forward to the Japan China Egon Kiriyama challenge.
And if you're watching this live,
yeah,
it's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah,
it'll happen in less than 24 hours.
Yeah, 100%.
And if you're watching this on YouTube, it's going to happen it's either already happened or it's going to be even sooner.
Yeah, it's happened as we speak. But you have to say, Hirata Tomoya, I do also believe that this win is his first win, and first title that he's ever won domestically.
So, well, it's certainly his first Egon Kiriyama Cup.
Yeah.
It could be his first title. Yeah. No, it's his second title.
Is his second title?
He did win the Young Cup.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, okay. Yeah. So it's won Young Cup.
But it's his first unrestricted title.
Correct.
Open title.
Yeah. But I think we mentioned this many times. Like, even though he's not a big name, he's actually beaten Yu Zhengqi, Ichiro Kirio, and Yama Yuta on his way to the title this year. So no slouch. It's not going to be an easy beat. But of course, I do believe that most Go fans will be favoring Li Qingcheng in this case.
I consider Li Qingcheng to be the favorite here. Yes.
So okay, so another international game to look forward to, Gaza. Now, let's just you did drop a hint about what we're gonna mention, a player that we're gonna mention, and let's look at what's happened in the third Kansai Open, Gaza.
Yes, the third Kansai Open. So this is a tournament specifically for Kansai players.
Kansai players, and they don't have to be Kansai Kiin, right? They just have to be based in Kansai.
That's right, because the Nihon Kiin has a Kansai branch.
Right.
And so players from the Kansai branch of the Nihon Kiin, as well as players from the Kansai Kiin, can participate in this Open.
Yeah.
And they have 5 different classes.
Right.
And then for each class, so they have rounds for each class, and they have a final. And the game that we're focusing on, or the result that we're focusing on, is the top class.
Yeah.
That final.
Yeah.
And it is between Iyama Yuta and Daisuke Murakawa.
Yeah.
Murakawa Daisuke.
Murakawa Daisuke, which we've mentioned before. Yep.
Yes, we've mentioned him before, and yes, two 9-dans.
Yeah.
And it ended up being a very close game.
Yeah.
Yeah, just briefly want to mention the semi-finals because it's probably the four best players in the Kansai region that were
Right,
in the semi-finals. So Iyama Yuta beat Sada Atsushi
right,
in the semi-final, and Murakawa Daisuke beat Zheng in the other semi-final.
right.
So yeah, it was Iyama Yuta and Murakawa Daisuke in the final,
Mm,
and yeah, it ended up being a narrow win for Murakawa Daisuke, but Iyama certainly had his chances in this game.
yeah. Um, now, sorry. In this game, uh, Murakawa Daisuke won by half a point.
Was it half a point?
Yeah,
Oh, half a point.
half a
Yes,
point.
yes.
Half a point. Now,
Now
this
he was black as well.
he was black. Now what's happened in this game was actually really really interesting. I'll see if I can bring you the show you the Kifu. Now it was when I did watch a little bit of the game live, and like let me just show you what's happened up at the point. So at now if you look at the Kifu at this point, so of course Daisuke just pulled out this black stone. I guess the idea kind of is to kind of put more pressure on this white group. But look at what Yama Yuta has done. So Yama Yuta has pretty much gotten, as white, has gotten quite a bit of territory over here. And he's got the middle all sorted out. This black stone is kind of maybe can be captured. He's kind of got all of this side. And I believe this black group is, this black group over here is, I think it should be dead, or if it's not dead, it's killable with one move. So I think it should be dead. Otherwise, it shouldn't look like this. So
It looks difficult to live.
yeah, it looks very 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 hard because obviously it's just one eye. I guess the obvious way to live maybe is like kind of jump or something. Maybe like jump.
Yes, yes.
And but this maybe no, I can't tell. But no, I don't think that this works. No, that this doesn't work. But I don't know. I'm too weak to see how I can kill with that jump, but potentially this could be dead. But whatever it is, according to the AI assessment, it's white's leading by a lot, like a lot. And I just remember watching at this point, thinking, how's black gonna recover from this? But of course, Daisuke managed to make this complicated. Now he kind of just pulls it out, threatening this white group a little bit. And then you look at black over here. This whole black stick isn't alive for sure, 100%, right? So that's black's also in a little bit of trouble. Okay, yeah. So white does this. Yeah. So this is actually alive. This is actually alive. So it's not dead. Is it? Yeah, it looks alive. Yeah, with this jump, it doesn't. So, but I guess black is still in trouble because this stick here is like, yeah, it's not.
It's a liability.
Yeah, and I think.
But again, also white. Oh yeah, white. Okay, white. So obviously white was able to
yeah,
connect his stones.
but I just remember at this point, kind of like Yama kind of started to panic because you see Daisuke actually played really nicely, and you see what's happened here is that like when like at some point Yama was desperately trying to connect these groups up with this white group.
Yes.
But Daisuke was playing really 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 nicely that white just couldn't get the chance to connect. So look at here now, white is actually disconnected, and they managed to set up this crazy
Seki.
fight for life and death. I can't remember if it was ended up being Seki or not, but yeah.
It's definitely a Seki because neither, well, black's outside has no eyes.
Yeah.
And this
white
round white thing has no eyes.
Yeah. So yeah, it was very crazy.
Yeah, there's absolutely no chance either player will be able to fill in the liberties without putting themselves in Atari. So,
yeah.
Seki.
So yeah. Yeah, so yeah, basically it's kind of remarkable to me how
I think that was a good result for
Yeah,
Black because
Daisuke. Yeah,
Black's definitely Black's group definitely seemed to be more in danger of dying than White's group.
yeah,
And yeah, Black being able to make that cutoff in the lower left to separate White stones is probably what gave Black a chance of winning this game.
yeah. So I just thought that whole disconnection sequence by Black was like really very, very good to watch. And as you can see in the AI graph here, it's by the end it just edged out by half a point. But at some point he was behind by a lot because there was a huge liability which he managed to make into a Seki of some sort. It looks like. Is that even a Seki?
Yes. And yeah,
Push.
I'm pretty sure
Yeah. Okay.
Daisuke got
Yeah.
yeah, I'm pretty sure Murakawa Daisuke got to Byoyomi earlier than Iyama.
Yeah.
So his Yosei under the time pressure was quite impressive.
Yeah.
In the last literally the last 60 or so moves, he kept his half point lead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that was crazy. If you look at the graph, it's really hard to assess if you're in a half point lead as well. I think it's just crazy. So congrats to Murakawa Daisuke. It's one of the few times that he's kind of managed to overcome Yuta and the
Yes, actually, in the very first Kansai Open 2 years ago, they also met in the final, but Iyama
Yeah.
was victorious in that one.
Yeah.
So this is
Now, if I'm not wrong, in the top division, I think some circles translate it as elite division. Daisuke has actually made the final, or Murakawa has made the final 3 times in a row. So he's lost the first 2 times, and he's finally won in his 3rd attempt.
yes,
so
I believe Seto Taiki. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I apologize.
Yeah.
He won last year. I don't believe Iyama participated last time.
Right.
Yeah, and he participated in the first one, and then he's come back in this one. But yes, Murakawa Daisuke is his first Kansai Open title.
Yep.
So big congrats to him.
Big congrats.
Well deserved. It was a great game.
Yeah. Very, very interesting to watch. Gaza, from Japan, let's jump a little bit to Taiwan, where another title was decided.
Well, we're covering all the Asian pro regions in this podcast.
Yeah, pretty crazy, huh?
And this was you're right. This is one of the biggest titles in Taiwan.
Right.
The Qiwang.
Qiwang.
Did you want to talk about this one?
Yeah. Just quickly, I think there's a few remarkable things about this win. Now, of course, as you can see in the headline here, Haohong had won this. So Haohong has been winning a lot of titles. He's taken a title from Lin Junyan 4-1. And Lin Junyan, this was Lin Junyan's only title. So there's of the 9 pro competitions in Taiwan, the open competition in Taiwan. What's remarkable is that after Haohong has won this one, he now holds 8 of them, 8 out of 9.
Yeah, that's crazy. So, we've yep.
I was going to say, not he held 8 of them, but one of the titles is held only every 2 years. So in the year 2022, he's won actually 7 titles already, and this one.
Oh, which one's only held?
The Guosho over here. You see.
Oh, the Guosho's only every 2 years.
On the page it says he won it in 2021. So the next one should be decided in 2023. So we'll see if he can hold on to that one.
But they're actually playing the title match for that at the moment.
Right. Yeah. So So that might be another one in the back.
Yes.
And then the only one he hasn't won is this. I don't know how to translate this, but it's like a Zhonghuan Gosei comp. So I don't know. But yeah, so that's
I think the Zhonghuan Qincheng or something like that.
Yeah, Qincheng Cup. Yeah, and so that's the only title he hasn't held. So Haohong might become the Yuta of Taiwan. He might hold 7 or 9 titles simultaneously. That would be crazy.
All 9 titles.
Yeah.
Mind you, he has won that one in the past.
Right.
So he does have a career, I guess, Grand Slam.
He does have a Grand Slam already. Yeah.
yeah, whatever you want to call it. But
Yeah.
yeah, see, holding 8 out of 9 titles is quite something.
Yeah.
Um, but this was Lin Junyan's only title, the Qiwang. He actually won it off Zhu Haohong
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah.
So Zhu Haohong was trying to win it back, and yeah, he did it. He did it quite comfortably. He only dropped one game.
Yeah.
I think that was the second
He
game.
he
Yeah,
dropped
it was
one
the
game in
second
the
game.
second. Yeah. Yeah. By one and a
Um,
half points.
yeah, 1.5 points, and then this one. Yeah, I watched a little bit of this game. I
Mm.
didn't watch much of it, but it seemed. I'm not sure if you saw it. I didn't
No,
really have any.
I didn't really. This is one of those games I didn't look at that much. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really have anything to say on it.
Right.
It
Okay.
it seemed like yeah, Lin Junyan seemed to struggle with it. He definitely got into time trouble
Mm.
a lot earlier than Zhu Haohong, but the game was already decided by then. So
Yeah. I just do remember watching a minor recap of this, and yeah, you see here, Lin Junyan is white, so this group is inside Black's territory. And apparently, what Xiaohong played here to try and kill white was the AI recommendation. So, this does feel like a very comfortable game for Xu, because he kind of got into a lead fairly early, and kind of never let go of the lead.
yeah, he's impressive,
Yeah.
Zhu Haohong.
So
I do hope that his domestic prowess can translate to the international scene.
yeah. And well, basically, he mentioned that his aim is to make the semi-final of an international major. So yeah, let's see if that happens. He's already made the last 8, at least once. But yeah, let's see if he can maybe even go as far as his tenpai, whatever it's called, Joe Joe Junshun.
Yeah, Zhou Junchun.
Yeah,
Yes.
who's the only Taiwanese pro domestic to Taiwan to have won an international major. So
Yeah,
Xiao
winning
might be
winning
even
the
more,
LG Cup. Yeah.
yeah, might be even more talented than Joe, but maybe it's just that the competitions are even tougher, or maybe he just hasn't been as lucky yet. So let's see. So that's the 15th Qiwang in Taiwan. Gaza, I think now it's time to move on to Korea and discuss a little bit about the competitions in Korea. There's some major ones in the women's scene.
Yes, we mentioned
Yeah.
at the end of last podcast
Mm.
that the Dr.G
Mm.
Korean Women's Strongest League was going to finish this week,
Yep.
and it did.
Yes.
And but I don't know if everything has been sorted out. What I mean by that is we had 3 games to finish off the Dr.G League.
Right.
Now, the first game was Kim
Myongji.
Pyong-yoon playing Kim Chae-young.
Right.
And that was an exciting game. I believe Kim Kyung-yoon should have won that one, but she made a mistake in Yosei that
Right.
cost her 2 points,
Right.
and she ended up losing by 1.5 points.
Yeah. Which is this game here.
Yes,
Yeah.
but the fact that Kim Chae-young won meant that she finished on 5 wins, and so that guaranteed her a place in the finals.
Yep, correct.
It guaranteed her top 2. Now, Choi Jong had already
Secured her place.
booked her place in
Yeah.
the top 2. So this game determined the top 2 players.
Yep.
Choi Jong and Kim Chae-young.
Yep.
And the winner of the Dr.G tournament will be determined by I believe it's a best of 3 final.
Right.
It could be a best of 5 final. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But well, I mean the first time this is kind of well, actually the first tournament when they did this last year, it was best of 5.
Right.
So I think we can assume that it's best of 5 again.
Right.
Now, there were 2 more games, and these games were interesting because it turns out that along with the top 2, third and fourth get to keep their spot for next season.
Yeah.
Now, I assumed it was just third place that kept their spot because last year only third place, I believe,
Right.
kept their spot. So I think in previous podcasts I've said that you have to finish in the top 3
Right.
to keep your spot, but I believe this year third and fourth will be seeded directly into the next edition.
Very nice.
Anyone that finishes outside the top 4 will have to re-qualify.
Yeah.
Now, it turned out that before the last 2 games, Hyoso Hyun and Park Ji-yeon both had 4 wins.
Yep.
Now, Myongji and OU Jin were on 3 wins.
Yep.
With 1 game left to play.
Correct. Yep.
Hyoso Hyun and Park Ji-yeon, they'd already finished. They played their full games and they were on 4 wins. They finished on 4 wins.
Yep.
Now, so obviously, Myongji and OU Jin needed to win their games to finish on 4 wins as well.
Yep.
Now, the second last game, which happened yesterday, was Myongji versus Komiso.
Komiso, yep.
And Myongji won that one fairly comfortably.
Yep.
So she ended up on 4 wins as well.
Yep.
Now, today's game was OU Jin versus Choi Jong.
Yep.
And I'm sure that this game was intended to be the last one of... This was definitely scheduled to be the last one of the league. This wasn't a random thing.
Right, yeah.
To have Choi Jong and OU Jin as the last round, the last game of the last round. But in any case, it was a bit of an upset because OU Jin actually won this game quite handily.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if this is the first game that Choi Jong has lost since the Samsung Cup final.
This might be because I did read about her winning like 12 games in a row, if not more.
She has won a ton of games since the Samsung Cup final.
Yeah.
Let me just try and check. Win. Oh my god. Oh my god. She's won she won 14 games.
Yep.
Since she lost to Shinjin So in the Samsung Cup final. And this is her first loss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy, huh?
Absolutely insane. That's 1.5 months of just
not losing anything.
Yeah, of just domination. 5 weeks of domination, yeah.
Yeah.
And but yeah, she definitely. Now that's why it was an even bigger surprise for her to lose to OU Jin, who, by the way, is not even ranked in the top 100 at the moment.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yep.
So yeah, it's definitely she should definitely be winning these games, but you know, you're allowed to have off days, and Choi Jong had already guaranteed her spot in the top 2, so maybe the motivation wasn't there.
Yeah, it's a bit inconsequential, I think.
It was inconsequential for her, yes, and for OU Jin, this was sort of a must-win game.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, OU Jin did win this game, and she did finish on 4 wins. So that means that there are 4 players on 4 wins.
Yep.
Park Ji-yeon, Hyoso Hyun,
Yep.
Myongji, and OU Jin.
Yep. All 4 of them are 4 wins. Yep.
Yeah. Komiso and Kim Kyung-yoon, they both ended up getting a win, which is good.
Yeah.
But they were definitely the 2 weaker players in this tournament, and they will have to try and re-qualify next time.
Yep.
Now, I believe I've tried to read into what this means, because there are 4 players that are tied for 3rd place.
Yep.
And only 2 of those players get a spot next year.
Right.
And if I recall remember there was a bit of a issue with the Open Korea Strongest League, where 3 players finished tied for 2 spots.
Yeah, and they ended up having to.
They had to do a playoff.
Playoff, yeah.
Now, in this case, I think there's a similar problem. Now, I'm pretty sure that the tiebreaker is wins among tied players.
Right.
So basically, for these 4 players, who has won the most games? And as it turns out, Hyo So-hyun, in her 4 wins, 3 of those wins were against the other 3 players here.
So basically, what that means is that forget about the wins against players outside of this group. Imagine the league was played with just these 4 players. Remove any game that didn't involve these 4 players, and then do a re-ranking based on that. Is that right?
I believe that's what is done for tiebreakers.
Yeah.
And as I said, Hyo So-hyun in that case would have 3 wins because she beat Oh Yoo-jin, Kim Yoon-ji, and Park Ji-yeon.
Very nice. Yeah.
So that would mean that Hyo So-hyun has definitely booked a ticket.
Yeah.
Has definitely got a spot next season.
Right.
Now, among the other 3 players, they have 1 win each.
Oh, wow.
Let me check. Park Ji-yeon beat Kim Yoon-ji.
Yep.
But Kim Yoon-ji beat Oh Yoo-jin, and Oh Yoo-jin beat Park Ji-yeon.
Right.
Now, what I'm guessing should happen then is that there's a playoff between these 3 players for 1 spot.
Right.
Now, there's another spanner into the works here. In that Park Ji-yeon has effectively retired.
Retired, yeah.
Now, she can play in the playoff, right?
Yeah.
But what if she wins?
Well, she have to come out of retirement.
Like, maybe she just doesn't want to, she...
Or maybe she's just out. She's like, I don't want to participate in the playoff.
Yeah. Again, if I've got this right, it could mean that Park Ji-yeon just withdraws from the playoff.
Yeah.
And it's just a single game. Either it's a single game between Oh Yoo-jin and Kim Yoon-ji.
Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine it would have to be a single game between Oh Yoo-jin and Kim Yoon-ji.
Yeah.
Either that or I don't understand. I've gotten the tiebreakers wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
But unfortunately, because this game literally finished, 3 or 4 hours ago.
Yeah.
An article hasn't come up on the KBA about what happens, but I do know I'm quite confident that 3rd and 4th both get seeds for next season.
Yeah.
In any case, though, a big congrats to Hyo So-hyun, who was definitely seeded next season because she started with 2 losses.
Yeah.
And I'm sure she was the last player to win a game in this league.
Yeah.
And she ended up finishing 3rd.
Yeah.
Really impressive. She's
So,
although if you do recall, we did comment on her win against Kim Yoon-ji, and that was a rather anxiety-inducing game.
Yeah.
But no, she's done well. She's beaten Kim Yoon-ji. She beat Oh Yoo-jin. Yeah, some real strong players.
Yeah.
She's always considered to be, having a lot of potential. She's, been the captain of her women's league team the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So hopefully she continues to improve. And
So looking forward to the final of the Dr.G between Choi Jong and Kim Chae-young.
Yeah, and I'm sure obviously the obvious question is when is the final?
Yep.
The answer is I don't know. Oh. I will try and look it up.
Yeah.
I can't find it. It's not this year.
Yeah.
It's next year. It's going to be next year for sure.
Yeah. I'm sure when it's scheduled, we'll let you guys know.
Oh yeah, we'll let you guys know. But I don't see it.
Yeah. Okay, no worries. Like Gaza, remaining in Korea, let's cover the female Kisung, which has I think it's meant to have a game played on the 12th of December, so it's already happened. But I kind of I don't remember what's happened. But what's happened in the women's Kisung, Gaza?
Well, okay, so we had I'm not sure if we covered this, but we had one of the semifinals 2 weeks ago.
Right.
No,
Choi
sorry,
Jong
last week. Sorry, last week on the 6th
Yeah.
of December.
Yeah.
That was Choi Jong. She beat Kim Chae-young.
Kim Chae-young, yeah.
And the second semifinal was held on the 12th. And that was between, I believe, Kim Yoon-ji and Kim Yoon-young.
Yep, Kim Yoon-young.
And Kim Yoon-ji won that one.
Yep.
So we've got a highly anticipated final now between the Empress of Baduk, women's Baduk, Choi Jong, and what many consider to be her heir apparent, Kim Yoon-ji.
Or future Empress, as she has recently won a competition with that name.
With that name, yes. So those games will be held next week. Or at least the first. It's a best of 3 final.
Yep.
The first 2 games will be held next week. If a third game it needs to be played, it will be held on Boxing Day.
Oh, very nice.
So like a late Christmas present, I guess.
Boxing Day, yes.
In the meantime, on the 13th, so the day after the last semi-final, they do actually have a third place playoff.
Right.
For this tournament. So it was between Kim Chae-young and Kim Yoon-young.
Yep.
And Kim Chae-young won that one, so she finished third.
Right. Does it have any implications for qualification next year?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a great question.
Okay, I don't know. But I mean, if it doesn't, then it's a bit, it doesn't feel right.
Well, you obviously you would get more money if you
I guess so, yeah.
Finished third.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to check here. Look, I actually don't know.
Yeah, no, that's all right. That's all right, Gaza. We'll update. We'll update.
I reckon that third place does. I reckon that fourth place probably does.
As well. Okay.
Get it, but maybe someone maybe if Eugene knows.
Yeah.
Actually, no. I think it's only the top 3. I think it's. Yeah, I'm trying to look at past competitions, and it looks like they just award it to the top 3, and then there's a wild card.
Very nice. So so it does kind of make a difference.
That makes sense.
You get to participate next year if you win that. So it's a little bit consequential. So,
well, mind you, if you do finish 4th, you can participate next year. You just need to qualify.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Now, so that's the women's Kisung. Looking forward to Choi Jong Kim Yoon-ji challenging Choi Jong.
Yes. I do want to point out that we've obviously Kim Yoon-ji recently in the last month has won 2 titles, her first 2 titles.
Yeah.
Neither of those competitions Choi Jong participated in.
Right, because they were restricted.
Well, the first one was restricted. The second one it's not really a major title.
Right.
So not all the women's players participated in it.
Right.
This one is a major women's title.
Yep.
And yes, it would be. It's definitely going to be exciting. I'm pretty sure this is the first time they've met in a final.
Right.
A major final.
Right.
Yeah, it's not the first game they've played against each other. I'm sure, but.
And I do believe Choi does have a dominant record versus Kim Yoon-ji.
Well, let me try and find that record just quickly.
Yeah.
What would you guess their record to be?
Okay, I am gonna I'm gonna see if I can. I just open up a bunch of code, and I do have the database of Kifus, of course, which I keep offline. And but the problem with this Kifu is that not every official game ends up having a Kifu recorded in this database. So my data is sometimes a little bit off. So I kind of tend to need to go with the Korean Baduk Association website and see how that goes. But
yes, the Korean Baduk Association website is great in that it has every game record. It doesn't, obviously, including the ones without Kifus.
Yeah.
And I've just I've come across it now. They've played 6 times. 5 of the games do have Kifus, but they've played 6 times.
Yeah.
And the record is 6-0 in favor of Choijong. So Kim Myongji hasn't actually beaten Choijong. Yes.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. So one of those was, of course, in the Dr.G League. They've never met in the women's Kisung before.
Right.
But yeah, they've met in a variety of different tournaments. But Choijong has always come out on top. But Kim Myongji is obviously still improving.
Yeah.
I mean, Choijong's also improving, but Kim Myongji is probably improving. One of the most rapidly improving players.
Yeah.
In the professional scene at the moment, and Choijong has to be the favorite, but it's not a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, 100%. Now, so you mentioned that the record is 6-0, and that there's only 5 of them have Kifus. Now, in my database, I have 6 Kifus, so I don't know if one of my Kifus,
is one of them from the actually maybe the KBA is just missing one of the Kifus. Okay. The Kifu was from the Jar League.
Okay. Or maybe one of the Kifus I have was not from an official comp. I'm not sure.
That's also a possibility. The one that doesn't seem to have a Kifu is the Women's Yi League in 2020.
Right. Yeah, okay, so that could be just missing from the KBA website. So in my record of it, of course, it also says 6-0, and of course, there's, in terms of their rating, the rating of these two players, there is a little bit of a difference in rating as estimated by, for example, Go Ratings, and the rating point is actually about 200 points. And what that translates to is that in a best of 3, Choijong has an 85% chance of winning, and of this 85%, there's a 57% of a 2-0 score and only 28% of a 2-1 score. So Kim Myongji is only expected to win one game, right? But that one if she does at all, and she's basically expected to lose, she may be able to win one game, but the chance of her winning 1 out of 3 is just 28%. Of course, the game could finish 2-0, then she doesn't even have a chance to play the third game. So it's a 28% chance that Kim Myongji will go down 2-1. But overall, Choijong is, I guess, still the favorites, 85% to win.
Yep.
Okay, so Gaza, that's the women's game in Korea. Now we will cover a little bit of add a bit of a youth flavor to this podcast. And I guess in fact we'll cover this one first, but actually I have another youth news, which is also very good news. So the first youth news is the first match between the world's youngest pros, Fujita Leo and Zheng, I believe his name is Zheng Yuhao, and from Taiwan. So I think Fujita Leo we've reported on before. I believe she's just 9 years old. And
He is.
Zheng Yuhao, I think we also reported on him before. He's just 10. So if you add up their age, it's just 19. So that could be the youngest ever, pro game, if you count by the sum total of the two players' ages. So
I think we should point out this is not an official game.
No.
And this is sort of an exhibition online matchup between Taiwanese players and I believe Kansai Kiin.
I think the official name is Taiwan Qiwang versus Kansai Kiin.
Yes.
So it's actually the Taiwan Qiwang. I believe Taiwan Qiwang is the organization responsible for issuing pro ranks, pro certificates in Taiwan. So that's And now this is not about this game, but did you know in total this series of games there were 15 games played in total, 15 games.
Yes.
Do you know what the score is?
I would imagine that Taiwan would be. I saw the list of players, and Taiwan looked to be quite strong. I would imagine that Taiwan would have won the majority of the games.
Yeah, it was actually 12-3. in
who?
Taiwan's favor.
Ah, okay, yes.
Yeah,
I,
which
I I would have imagined that Taiwan would have had a good result because they seem to have, yes, they had some very strong players, particularly including Wang Wanjun.
yeah,
He was playing.
yeah.
Um, the top women pros like Yang Jixuan.
Mm.
Um,
I
yes,
think there was
Lai Junfu as well.
yeah,
Yeah,
you got Xu Zhenan, Jia Jingting, they all played. So yeah, it was quite
yeah.
crazy.
Whereas the Kansai Kiin, they seem to just play their younger players.
Right,
So they didn't have Yu Zhengqi, they didn't have Murakawa Daisuke,
right,
no Yuki Satoshi.
right,
Perhaps this is meant to be a youth match.
right. Yeah,
I'm guessing maybe Wang Wanjun isn't as old as I thought he was.
Wang Yuanjun, maybe 27, 28, maybe.
He's 20. Yeah, he is 26. So
Right.
that's similar in age to Yu Zhengqi. So
Yeah,
yeah, it did look like the Kansai Kiin were focusing on perhaps giving their younger players
mm,
more game time.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, it's quite a dominant display by Taiwan over Kansai Kin. But now this I just want to quickly show you the Kifu because I think this is a Kifu between the Fujita Leo and Zheng Yuhao. Zheng is black, Fujita is white, and I just remember watching. Okay, I just only watched a little bit of this, and I just remember when I started watching it was at this black move, over here in the corner. Um, Now, if you look at it this way, so black is definitely ahead on territory. I think this white group here might be dead, on the top right hand side corner. Yeah, so uh, this may not be the best way to play this sequence, of course, but it's either dead or dead via co. One of them. But yeah. But yeah, it's not. So black has got quite a bit of territory, and you know what? Black looks solid everywhere. There's no weak black group. I do believe this black group must be alive. It cannot be dead. I guess of course there's things like throw in here, which is a bit tricky to deal with. So yeah, but it does look fairly alive, and black is ahead everywhere. And so therefore, at some point, the oracle has have spoken to me. They were saying that black is definitely going to win this game. All right. It was a foregone conclusion basically. I thought, and I think the AI reversal says there's a reversal at 99%. So yeah, it was quite crazy. But I kind of gave away the ending already. But even though black was quite ahead here, white ended up actually winning this game, remarkably. Like I have no idea how that's even possible. So black must have made some huge blunders somewhere.
Yes, I haven't had the opportunity to go over this game. This is another one of those games that
Yeah,
was finished 5 or so hours ago.
yeah,
And I too, I noticed that um, Black was dominating this game, and then just as I was about to go for my weekly run,
yeah.
I saw that suddenly it was at 50%.
Oh, oh
And
wow.
obviously, me being me, I had to go for my run, and I
Right.
come back and the game's over, and White won. And yeah, it was a bit of a shock. It just goes to show that anything can happen
Yeah,
in a game of Go, even among pros. But
yeah,
yeah, I still don't know. I don't know where Black went wrong, or what White was able to do to complicate the game.
yeah. Uh, Black lost quite a bit here by letting white just peep inside. But I don't know if that's the losing move though. I have to really look at it. But yeah, but it's quite remarkable that this ended up happening because black lost this whole thing. Okay, so I don't know. Maybe they was wrong to. Oh, and then black ended up.
I don't think that should have happened.
Yeah, no. Okay, so that's Seki. Yeah, so white made a lot of gains over here. So it was, to me, it looks quite crazy. But it did happen. But so yeah, so the game between the youngest pro to have played in by total age ended up with a win for Kansai Kiin. It's one of 3 wins for Kansai Kiin, and this is 3 out of 15. So to put everything in context, so yeah, so that's the what's happened in this game. Huge reversal, as you can see. Now, Gaza, I mentioned that there's another youth story, and this youth story is also a good one, and which is this story kind of flew under the radar a little bit, but I do want to mention it. It hasn't been posted on proweiqi yet. It was basically okay. If I can refresh this page, so what's happened was, for some reason, the North American Go Federation and Chinese Weiqi Association, they decided to have an online game called the China North America New Youth Pro Player Invitational Tournament. So basically, in Chinese, it's a bit more clear. It says New Shodan. So basically, the new pros from North America play the new pros in China. And of course, we know that the new pro from America this year, we've covered that before, was Kevin Yang and Alex G. And I now even know Alex G's Chinese name. So that's the poster for the games. And from China, we have 2 new showdans, one from the boys group and one from the girls group. So from the boys group is, I believe, Yang Haozhe, and from the girls group is Deng Youjia. Yeah, I think I pronounced it incorrectly. Yeah. Now, you would, like, okay, I think if you ask someone, or they may just kind of maybe favor the Chinese players a little bit, because obviously it's very competitive there in China to even make pro. And these 2 players from the Chinese Weiqi Association, they're not like weak. Both of them came second in their group, and I believe they restricted this competition to under 16s. So actually, the number 1 in the women in the boys group and the girls group wouldn't have been able to participate in this comp, because they will be over 16. So these are the strongest under 16 player, a new pro this year from China, playing the new pros from North America. And guys, guess what happened in the first round? The first round was basically I believe it's Yang Kaiwan versus Yang Haozhe. And
wait, who versus Young? Wait, who was playing?
Kevin Yang.
Yeah.
Versus Yang Haozhe over here.
Yeah.
Alex G played Deng Youjia, I believe. That's I believe that was the pairing in round 1. And basically a straight knockout. Yeah, if they win, they move into the final. Yeah. And guess what happened, Gaza?
Well, I reckon that North America won 1 game and China won 1 game.
Well, I think as it turned out, North America won both games.
Oh wow!
Yeah, that's quite remarkable, I guess. That was a young Taiwan.
That's good. That's good sign for the future of North American Go.
Yeah, and I think I'm surprised, but also not surprised, because Kevin, if you remember in the Globus Cup, he beat some Japanese new pros, so it's definitely not weak by any stretch of the imagination.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. Now I also did look over both of the Kifus, and I think if you look at what's happened here, Yang Kaiwan actually, this is Yang Kaiwan is black.
Wait, who's black?
Kevin Yang. So Yang Kaiwan is his Chinese name. But anyway.
Wait, his name is Yang Kaiwan?
Yeah, same as the Chinese pro. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Now I don't. So I up to this point in the game was fairly even as judged by AI. So White just invaded the corner and tried to gain a few points in the corner, and then Kevin Yang just made this wedge. Now, when the Chinese player decided to keep the corner instead, that's when AI decided to really hate it, because so White ended up just connecting here, but yeah, and they even started a code, but it's actually really, really tough code for White, because White pretty much have to win this code. So they keep fighting this ko, and ended up Kevin Yang just finished off the ko, and White ended up killing this black group. But apparently this is Kevin Yang is already in a fairly commanding lead by this point. So just by fighting this ko and kind of winning it. It's a bit difficult to fully assess, because for me it looks like just that this black group is also dead, but I guess you can see black's got the center is huge. It's huge. So this is actually a really good win for Kevin Yang. So he definitely, like, it was never behind. He was basically, and then he just capitalized on one mistake by the Chinese player, and he had won this. So yeah, like definitely Kevin Yang's his performance in, like, it's definitely something I look forward to. And if you remember, Kevin Yang has also won the I believe the Lanka Cup representation from, I guess,
That's right.
the OG of North America Go before this, Ryan Lee. So yeah, like, it does look like the Kevin is a huge talent. So I really want to see a really strong North America or a strong Europe to start challenging some of these Asian countries. So that's the other youth news that I wanted to bring to you. And you may be wondering what's happened in the final in Kevin Yang versus Alex G. I looked at the key food today a little bit. Unfortunately, it wasn't a great day for Alex. I do believe he made a really big mistake early on in the middle game, and then I don't think he can really recover from that huge mistake. He basically lost the group, I do believe, in Kevin's territory. So it's congrats to Kevin Yang for winning this invitational, and also over the Chinese players as well. So now this is the key for the final today. Kevin Yang versus Alex Chi. So Kevin is black again. I do believe, I was looking at the Kifu at this point. So notice how at this point you have Alex Chi decided to kind of play this white stone in here, and then Kevin Yang played this beautiful probe just by cutting. So Alex Chi decided to capture these stones, and then Kevin cover on top. And Alex Chi, instead of moving out, I guess because of the RG over here, because this sacrifice is quite nice, because there's things like just lots of just bad RG kind of thing. So yeah, so that's things like this. I don't know exactly the sequence, but that's so Alex Chi decided that the best chance for him was to jump inside, and he made another move inside. But when Kevin played here, he decided not to follow through, kind of just change of minds and just kind of connect, and then he kind of played elsewhere. So I don't know if it was intended or not, but it does look pretty bad. These white stones here, it looks like just completely gone, captured, and White didn't gain very much, if anything, in the process. So yeah, to me it looks like it's not a great game by Alex. So that's it.
Yeah, good stuff. And
Now,
so there were only 3 games in this sort of exhibition tournament.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Yeah, 3 games.
Right. Okay.
I think it's gone. It's finished now. Now, Gaza, shall we, finish off by mentioning that we wanted to have a awards season for proweiqi, and here are some of the categories we thought about. Gaza, do you want to take us through them?
we thought that like other maybe podcasts or even subreddits do, they have sort of a year in review, or just just something to vote on.
Yeah.
And we thought it would be fun to have some awards in the pro scene to sort of have nominations and vote on.
Yeah.
And yeah, the categories that we were thinking of was the player of the year.
Yep.
Um, so who played well this year.
So.
Okay, the game of the year, and that
Yeah.
could be anything, like a game that was exciting, a game that was brutal, a game that was wildly fluctuating.
Yeah.
It can have multiple different meanings.
Yeah.
Performance of the year. So that's what we mean by that is like who had an amazing tournament or an amazing league,
Yeah.
or just or just dominated in an event or something like that. My favorite one, bad move of the year.
Yeah.
So this one's restricted to pro games.
Yeah.
So basically, professionals making moves that us amateurs
No.
would maybe even us amateurs wouldn't play.
Yeah.
Not because they're good, but because they're bad.
It's pretty bad. Yeah. There's a few of them comes to mind. But maybe I also extend it to bad sequences because one bad move isn't. Yeah, it's like a whole sequence.
Yes, yes, we can be liberal with this.
Yeah.
And controversy or disappointment of the year. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about one major disappointment in this podcast.
Yeah.
Of course, the Myongji University. That would certainly be a nominee
Yeah.
for that. But yeah, we were thinking of having this. Obviously, the year hasn't ended.
Yeah.
Yet.
Yeah.
And we do want to make sure that the whole year is represented. So there are games right up until the end of the year.
Yeah.
But we wouldn't. Yeah, we would be keen if people are interested. We would be keen to hear nominees
Yep.
for these categories, and then we can have voting, and then people can see what has been determined by public consensus.
Yep. Yep.
As the winners of these
Yep.
awards.
Yep. So we'll ask around, look for nominations, and then see if we can come up with these our awards in January sometime. So that's the plan. Gaza, with that in mind, I think this is a good wrap for the podcast. So shall we go to the calendar now? Unless you have something else you want to cover.
No, let's go to the calendar.
Let's look at the calendar, Gaza. Now, a little bit of a disappointment about this calendar, I have to say. It was in the news today that the Chinese Weiqi Association has announced the postponement of at least 3 tournaments. So that will be the Quzhou-Lanke Cup, which was scheduled to take place on Christmas Eve, right through the Christmas period. But that's been postponed. Quzhou-Lanke Cup, that's gone. There's also the Guoshou tournament, that's also gone. And also the Mlily Cup, which was scheduled to be taking place in January, that's also been postponed. So, but I guess the thing that affects us the most is what's happening over the next week, which is the Christmas period. Quzhou-Lanke Cup, no longer happening.
Yeah, very disappointing. I was very excited to see the start of this new tournament.
Yep.
The problem with these postponements is that we don't know when it's going to end, when it's been rescheduled to. We've already had that experience with the Jar League, with that continually getting postponed. And yeah, it's a little bit concerning that maybe these tournaments, don't happen.
Yeah. And I had hopes that because China's relaxing their COVID restriction and that so therefore we'll see less of these, but this kind of surprised me a little bit. But yeah, Gaza, you were gonna say?
Yeah, at the very least, for some reason, despite the Quzhou-Lanke and Mlily Cups being postponed, it doesn't seem like the Chunlan Cup has been postponed.
Yeah.
So we still have that to look forward to next week.
Yeah.
And that includes, of course, the highly anticipated matchup in the quarterfinal of the Chunlan Cup between Shinjin So and Ke.
Yeah.
So that'll probably be the game to look forward to
Yeah.
that week.
Yeah. And no news of Chunlan Cup being postponed at all. So yeah, hopefully it really is taking place.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem like that to be the case. I don't think it's always been able to run on a 2-year schedule.
Yeah.
Unlike the In Cup, and the Mlily Cups, which have had delays.
Yeah.
So the Chunlan Cup seems to be holding strong.
Yeah.
Very, very pleased for
Now,
that.
just to be safe, I kind of go. I went to the what's it called, the Baduk Association website, and look at their schedule. Now, if you look at their schedule, it clearly still says that Chunlan Cup is happening, but of course the Quzhou-Lanke Cup is gone. So yeah, so Chunlan Cup is still happening, even according to the Korean website. So it's likely to be happening. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So, yep. So that's good news.
Good news. Yeah.
So we're seeing a return to the international games after a very short break. Of course, another international game which we already mentioned happening. Well, it's actually happening today.
Yeah.
Now because it's past midnight in Australia.
Yeah.
But it's the China-Japan Agon Cup match between Hirata Tomoya and Li Qingchen.
Yep.
That's going to be interesting. In Korea, we have the women's Kisung final.
Yep.
Highly anticipated matchup between Choi Jong and Myongji. The first 2 games will take place on Monday and Tuesday.
Yep.
There's also the GAM tournament, which we haven't mentioned.
Yeah.
But I feel like we should wait until it will finish. Well, it'll finish on the 24th. So we might mention it in the next podcast, or we can mention it in the podcast after that.
Yeah.
It's more of I think they're official games, but it's more of an exhibition tournament.
Right.
It's a bit of a strange one, but it is you can watch those games on Baduk TV if you so wish.
Yeah.
In Japan, they have the Taikei League, the Taikei Cup League, which is a very new competition. It's not entirely new. This is its 2nd edition.
Right.
But it's a competition for younger players, not too young. I think you only have to be under 30.
Right.
But other than that, yes, it's fairly young players. And they have a league, and then I believe they have a final between. So they have 2 different divisions, and then they have a final.
Right.
So the league will be happening next week, and that'll be on the Nihon Kiin YouTube channel, so you can watch those games.
Very nice.
I believe Yuno Asami did not qualify for this one.
Right.
For Yuno Asami fans, I think she was eliminated in qualifiers.
Right.
But Fujisawa Arena will be playing.
Yep.
She may be the only women's representative in this league.
Yep.
Yeah,
I think she is the only so
yes. Actually she is. I'm just gonna quickly find out. So Nakamura Sumire lost to Sakai Yuki.
Yep.
In the qualifier.
Yeah.
And Yuno Asami actually lost to another female.
Right.
Mana Goto.
Right.
So yeah, bit of a surprise there. Actually, so you actually have to be under 25. Sorry, not 30. You have to be under 25.
Right.
In this tournament, so it is a fairly young tournament, but still not too young, because you still have players like Shibano and Ichiriki Ryu competing in it. Susha is not competing in it, and the reason for that is because he won the 1st edition, and you can't participate again.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's one of those ones.
Okay, cool.
Like the Rookie King, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that league will be happening next week.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It looks like it's very tight schedule on the Neon Kiin website.
It is a tight schedule. Also, the Seki Kotaro is also participating. Fukuoka Kotaro. Yeah, there's quite a lot of Yuki Sakai, the Rookie King.
And not forget
Takeu. Yeah, it's still pretty stacked.
yeah, it's pretty and of course the big names leading the charge is Shibano and Chiriki, so both
Yes.
big 3 title holders at the moment. So yeah, definitely something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Okay, is there anything else in the calendar for that?
Yeah, there's only a couple of other games. I mean, the Korean Kiwon Championship, which we haven't talked about.
Right.
It's a fairly long championship in terms of number of games.
Right.
But it is a major title, and there's going to be a couple of games next week.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Definitely the big one is Chunlan Cup. Really looking forward to that, and of course the women's Kisung, Choi Jong versus Myongji. Can't go wrong.
Yes.
There. But they're all happening in the first 3 days of the next week, Monday.
Yes,
Tuesday,
and the Chunlan Cup. So these will be the last World Major games this year.
Yeah.
Chunlan Cup quarters and semifinals.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess we.
So shall we remind ourselves who the quarterfinalists are in the Chunlan Cup? Maybe we should.
Oh yes, I think we can. We can quickly do that. So if I just search for Chunlan Cup, now of course I think you mentioned the big one. The big one is Kerje versus Shinjinso. That's a huge one.
Yes, we do have an all Japan. I mean, we do have a quarterfinal between 2 Japanese players.
Yeah,
I mean 2 Chinese players. Sorry,
yeah.
two Chinese players.
I've actually recently updated this post. So this is the round 3 draw.
Here we go.
Kerje versus Shinjinso.
Yes.
Now, it may sound a bit strange, considering that Kerje isn't really doing so well, but Kerje still has a winning record versus Shinjinso. Maybe not so much longer after this competition, but let's see. Of course, another Chinese number 2, current Chinese number 2, Li Shuanhao, in hot form, but hasn't had a lot of game time recently. He will take on Yang Dingxin, who
is also in extremely hot form.
Yeah, just beat Jinso, mind you. So
yes,
that's the all Chinese quarter to look forward to, and then you have Xu Minjun versus Tang Weixin. Probably fairly evenly matched, I guess. Still,
fairly. It's hard to know which Tang Weijing will turn up. I mean, sometimes you get when it comes to world major games, Tang Weijing seems to play his absolute best. But we shall see. That should be a fun one.
Yeah, that should be a really, really interesting one. And then you got Byung Sang-il, who's recently taken over the Korean number 2 spot. He'll face Li Weiqing, which surprises me because they head-to-head supposedly 0-4 in Li's favor. So, oh well.
Yeah, that's well, hard to say who's going to win that one. Perhaps Li Weiqing does have a bit of an edge over. Maybe it's their play style, and Li Weiqing's play is good against Byung Sang-il. But hard to know. We could see an all Chinese semi-final.
Yeah, maybe.
I have to say that Kerje is not looking too. He's not looking too good. I think he's lost his last 4 games.
Yeah,
actually. Or has he won or has he played a game recently and he's won it? Let's quickly check.
He's definitely lost most of his online games. So I have
online games mean nothing.
Yeah. Or
no, he's lost his last 4 games.
Yeah,
no,
so
he hasn't. He's lost his last 4 games.
It's not in hot form.
No, he's not. He's not in good form.
Yeah.
But he's still Kerje. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, he knows how to he's won 8 titles. He knows how to play good Weiqi. He just hasn't done it recently.
No.
Mind you, Shinjin does know how to play good Weiqi, and he has done it recently. So
I guess, yeah, we shall see. I get obviously, without saying, just even by the simulation, Shinjin is the favorite, almost a 40% chance of winning this tournament.
Yes,
So,
but it'll be exciting. Maybe we'll see a rematch, Shinjin versus Yang Dingjin in the semi-final.
ooh, that would be crazy. Yeah,
that would be pretty crazy. But we'll find out and we'll report on it in next week's podcast.
All right, great. I guess that's a wrap for this podcast. Thank you very much, Gaza. It's time to, I guess, say bye.
Yes, and we do encourage people once again to read up on the Myongji University news article, and when I get around to it, maybe in a few hours after we upload this video, I'll put links to the petitions in the description.
Yep, we'll do. Yeah. All right, great. Okay, great. Thanks, Gaza. And
all right,
let's